Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Muscle TV. I'm, of course, your host, Russell the Muscle. And believe me, I know you've been waiting all day long to click on YouTube and watch this handsome young man come and blow your minds. But today, of course, as voted on my Instagram, we will be talking about the Ironman, Captain America, and Thor trilogy of movies. So sit tight, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. First, I would like to give a little bit of a shout out though, because not a lot of you know this, but yesterday was officially the 3-month anniversary since my father passed away. It was also my sister's birthday, so happy birthday, True. Yeah, it's been hard on the family, kind of, but we're getting through. We miss you, Dad. Love you, and I hope you are looking down at me proud. And I know you're in a better place. But let's get off this depressing topic and move on to the video. So, like I said, we're gonna be talking about the trilogies, but I would like to first say, before I begin talking about all the movies, I will, however, make this clear that I do want to say Iron Man 1 is by far the best movie out of the 9 films. So before I get into trilogies and stuff like that, it was fantastic, and not to mention it kickstarted the entire MCU. If it was not for Iron Man 1, we would not have an MCU. So everyone should be respecting Iron Man 1 if you're a fan of the MCU. So Robert Downey Jr. is an excellent Iron Man, and as a lot of you know this, he is my favorite superhero in the entire MCU. That's why it's said that he died. Well, Iron Man died. Robert Downey Jr. didn't die, but you know what I mean. But yes, this is in top 5 for my favorite MCU movies, and it's definitely my favorite out of all 9 of these movies. But let's get to talking about what we came here for. So, in last place is the Thor trilogy. Now, I will, however, say Thor Ragnarok, fantastic. I thought it was funny, great storyline, the fact that they had the Hulk in it, everything about this movie I thought was great. A lot of people didn't like it. However, I think a majority did. I think it's a very popular movie, mostly because of the comedy. They finally established Thor as a funny superhero, because let's be honest, the other 2 movies in Thor's playbook wasn't like great. I mean, the first Thor movie was alright. I think it gets too much hate. I think it's not as bad as people say it was. It had a great storyline. Tom Hiddleston played an excellent Loki, which, by the way, Loki is my second favorite villain in the entire MCU. I think that the first Thor was pretty good. It wasn't as great as Thor Ragnarok, but it was still pretty good. It did have, I guess, it did have a couple funny moments. I mean, not every day you'll see I demand another as he throws a glass on the floor. Definitely Thor Ragnarok is the best out of his 3 movies. And what has it so low on my list at third is the fact that it has Thor the Dark World. Thor the Dark World is a forgettable movie with a forgettable villain that no one cares about. Horrible movie. It was the worst movie in the entire MCU. Out of all 25 movies that are now out after Shang-Chi, Thor the Dark World, I'm not saying that after Shang-Chi is the worst. I'm saying, that's the last movie that came out. Thor the Dark World is by far the worst movie in the entire MCU. I'm very disappointed with the movie, and it's one movie that I will never watch again. That's what made this so low on my list. So the other 2 was good. I mean, Thor 1 was okay, and then Thor Ragnarok, of course, was excellent. One of the easily in top 6 or top 7 MCU movies. But Thor: The Dark World has this in last place for me. Moving on. I hate to admit it. Like I said before, Robert Downey Jr. plays my favorite superhero. Iron Man is my favorite superhero in the entire MCU. I'm glad how it ended with him. I mean, the Avengers was great. He saved the world in all of the Avengers movies, including Endgame, especially where he snapped his fingers and killed all the bad guys. But And Iron Man 1 was great. Iron Man 2, again, was really, really good. Not as great as the first one, not as special to me as the first one, and probably not even in my top 5 or 10, but it was still a great movie. That's why this one's not at the bottom. But Iron Man 3, horrible. Listen, Iron Man 3 ruined this one from being at the top for me. I mean, it was a horrible movie. Again, similar to Dark World, except I guess I could say a little better than Dark World because that movie was just dreadful. But the way they even did the Mandarin in Iron Man 3 was just terrible. Um, Disappointed. I was disappointed in the performance in Iron Man 3 and the writing in Iron Man 3, and they could have done a lot better. So that's why this one's at number 2 for me. And personally, there's no change in my mind. I know a lot of people will be biased and put Iron Man at the top of the trilogy list. I can't be biased here, and I'm putting Iron Man at number 2. All right, number 1 is, of course, the Dark Knight trilogy. I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy was excellent, well written, well made. It was the best trilogy of all time. And Heath Ledger, of course, plays the great Joker, and it's hard to argue with that. I'm just kidding. I had to play a little bit again. The Dark Knight would be the best trilogy if it was, if this video was on DC and Marvel, because I do actually firmly do believe that the Dark Knight trilogy is one of the greatest trilogies in the history of every movie. But this is not about DC. This is about Marvel. This is about the MCU, and that is why I am going to talk about Captain America's trilogy. Excellent. Every single movie in his trilogy was excellent, well written, great build. His trilogy had the best build out of all the trilogies by far. I mean, Captain America 1 was great. Captain America the Winter Soldier was excellent as well, with Sebastian Stan playing a great Bucky. And overall, of course, Civil War, fantastic build, fantastic fight scenes. I know some people found Civil War to be a little boring because there wasn't a lot of action in it, but I think the storyline was great. Not to mention that the fight scenes in it was excellent. I mean, it had great moments like Black Panther and Bucky fighting on the rooftop, and then it had moments like the end fight battle with, not the end fight battle because there's one more battle after that, but the battle where all the heroes came together and was fighting each other. And of course, Tony Stark recruited Spider-Man, which was great. Spider-Man stealing Captain America's shield. Them complaining about him talking too much. Usually, there's not this much talking in a fight, but I thought it was excellent. Lots of humor in it and lots of great moments. Of course, the last fight was great too, with Iron Man taking on both Captain America and the Winter Soldier when he found out that the Winter Soldier killed his parents. Great movie, and all 3 of these movies were fantastic. That's why, personally, Captain America's trilogy has to be at the top of the list. And I know that Iron Man's a very close second, but Iron Man 3 ruined it for me. But I will say that, without a doubt, to me, the best MCU trilogy has got to be Captain America, putting, my biased opinion aside for Iron Man, because I love you, Iron Man, and I'm going to miss you. But that was it. I mean, that was it for this short podcast for this week. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what your opinion is for the best MCU trilogy. Who knows? You might be different. You might be biased, and you might say Iron Man. But I know this video was kind of short this week. I mean, it's just on the 3 trilogies. So compared to larger videos, like, it's not like it's on the entire MCU. But I do hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments. Again, please like and subscribe. And if you don't yet, follow my Instagram, Muscle TV. Muscle Talk Show, sorry. Yeah, so that's it for this week's video. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.